Greetings from the show floor at IPC Apex 2025 in lovely Anaheim, California. I'm Eric Miscoll with EMS Now. Today it's my pleasure to sit in person instead of on Zoom with Vivek Khanna. He's the CEO of Indic EMS Electronics. Indic, as Vivek is going to explain to you, is an Indian-based EMS company that has been making some good moves in the industry and is certainly growing and being successful. So let's start there, Vivek. Thanks for coming by the show just to see me. I appreciate that.
Same here. Like, it's always fun to see you and meet you and talk to you.
Yeah.
Maybe in front of camera or maybe outside the camera too.
We'll do outside is better, right? Hey, let's start with India. India is the hot story, right? And I was just talking to somebody before about this. It wasn't the story 20 years ago. Everybody had hope for it, but for EMS, I mean, and it wasn't there yet. For these last many years now, it is the story. It's getting a lot of attention. So tell us about the EMS industry as it's developing in India right now.
But that's like India is really going through a great story, as you rightly said, during the last 2 decades, and it's a continuation of what happened before 2 decades in the software industry.
Yeah.
That's getting replicated now in the manufacturing company.
Yeah.
So last 2 decades, in particular, now the last decade is going through now the exponential growth. So I'm not sure. I'm not surprised by that. As I said, I was lucky to be in the journey of the software industry when it boomed up, being a part of that, being a developer, and going all up to some entrepreneurship. And now I'm too lucky in my own life. The last 2 decades, I'm highly associated with manufacturing now.
Yeah.
This is really going through the booming time. You see, last 5 years, it's been the whole EMS industry has been moving about 41% year to year one, and I expect the same growth, or roughly they are predicting not less than 35% for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
So very interesting space. I luckily have to be there, happens to be there, and yeah, there's a lot of eyes not only on the global purview because of a lot of people talking about China plus one from the European or American perspective, but also, government perspective. The amount of money they're putting on that, they're giving schemes like, we'll put 25%, you put the 75%. So they're trying to, replicate a China model, but in a different way altogether. I will use the word in an Indian way.
Good. So it's interesting when I hear you. So with the booming industry, is that how much of that is for export product being made by EMS and exporting to other countries, and how much is it for in the internal market within India?
In India, actually, if you ask me, most of the players will be doing 60 to 65% India market and 30 to 35% export.
Okay.
But Indic is very different, and if you don't mind, I can
Let's talk about Indic now. Yes,
Thank
please.
you very much. Actually, I jumped to that, and my apologies.
That was natural. Look how you did that.
So in Indic, it's the other way around, because I learned the same way in the software industry where I was associated, is that first we straightway went to the global market and then entered to the India market.
Yeah.
So I wanted to replicate the same model in Indic, and that worked too. So we've been doing almost about 80% export, the global market, and only 20% the India market.
Okay.
But that's where there's a lot of space to walk in. So the ideal conditions will be, from Indic perspective, will be 60-65% global and 30-35% India.
Okay.
So that's why it's a bit unique because of my history of
Yes.
being,
No, that's good insight. So tell more about Indic then. Size, capabilities.
So from an Indic perspective, what you are doing is, we like to be a different firm, because I see the opportunity compared to the other Asian players. Like, you take Malaysia, you take Thailand, you take Indonesia, you take Vietnam or Philippines.
Yep.
They still have a high dependency on the global market, maybe 90% more when you see the EMS players there. But in India, you still have, like China, a big local market which can always substitute whenever you have an extra capacity. So what we are doing is we are following that model. We are coming with a new plant which is almost 3 times the capacity, and we are not scattering the plants. We are putting it next to our existing plant, and and we are going to go for a state-of-art one. What we learned about it is, it's a Simju, the Japanese company.
Yep.
We are doing not only the construction but all the ecosystem around it. will be
Excellent.
eco-friendly. ESG is the main, I know, the European and American mandate.
Yes, yes.
So we are trying to follow it very rigorously.
Okay.
And not only just the enhancement of the capacity. Now we are going back to, we started with the Panasonic or Yamaha of the world.
Yep.
Now we are migrating to the latest ESM technology, the dual line of ESM, and a lot
Okay.
of AI into that.
Okay.
And then we are supplementing it because of the good AI thing. So all the new plant will take immediately the start with itself the 8 SMT lines. All will be ASM dual.
Okay.
And to, as I said, to supplement the software part of it, because that's always been my life, the software to integrate to that, is that we are also doing the digital manufacturing through the S4 HANA getting
Yep.
integrated to use the AI and all the IT interesting things happening today in the machines.
Yeah. No, and you're absolutely right. So what type of customers, sectors, industry sectors are you serving?
We are mainly focusing on three, to be honest. One is the renewable, the other one is e-mobility, and always the IoT or the industrial part is always there
Always
with
there.
the big players like I don't want to name the customer.
No, don't do that. No, no, no. But it's those are the sectors.
All right. So
And that's but that was, you're not just an EMS that's just accepting any business. You're being kind of selective in your approach and the industries you're engaging with.
thanks for mentioning that. Yes, we are very different than the others because we like to engage only with about 5 to 10 top players.
Okay.
That should be our main one, and maybe on a pipeline another 10. So we
Yep.
work with a very selectively 20, 25 on the max
Okay.
companies. Even the next 5 to 10 years, that's the roadmap.
Okay, that's excellent. So you mentioned the new facility.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're developing a business park there, right? And then, with the ecosystem, you say come in. Does that mean suppliers might be there too, or is it?
That's true. Like suppliers will be there too.
Okay.
But I mean, we already able to, put some suppliers which are put their plants next to ours.
Okay.
So we are working that ecosystem. But the interesting part will be uh, that we'll have a huge daycare there. I started in a daycare on the existing one.
Yeah.
Now have a big, we have a lot of land and we can really dedicate a small facility only for the daycare center.
Okay.
What plus, as usual, I always love to talk about that Indic has a uniqueness of having 80% women folks,
Yep.
and also from a production perspective, working single shift. So in my own land, maybe 2 or 3 miles away from me, the Foxconn is coming. They have already come. They already employed about more than 20,000 because mobile and all that is a very interesting market for them. But from my perspective, that 80% women folks always sticks to me because we do many things for them from
Yeah.
as a family, as a part of our family.
Family culture. That's good to hear. That's good to hear. Any other? Now you're here in Anaheim, in California, North America.
Right.
Last time I saw you live was in Germany,
That's right.
and you were penetrating and doing business in the European. What's happening in North America for Indic?
To be frank, this is my first visit here.
Yeah.
But as I said, there's so much attention today to the American customers, the American market.
Yeah.
So we have some, but I think it'll be very interesting next 2 days to work it out what's happening around here.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a lot of focus. The way the people have a focus on Asia countries and India being a politically neutral country,
Yeah.
and I think whatever people talks about your president or my prime minister,
Yeah.
but I think there's a lot of synergies together.
Yes.
And it's a really interesting space to not only penetrate, to exist, and I mean, it speaks of itself. Again, in the software industry, if you see, we've been very successful because key players of all the top software companies are basically born in India.
Right.
So
Oh yeah.
we feel proud about it. It's not
Yeah.
like we are
No,
challenging
absolutely.
you on that,
Right.
but so why not the manufacturing? So we think, of course, the TIs of the world or the AMDs of the world already exist from an R&D perspective.
Yes.
So I don't think any challenge on the manufacturing, also taking a good race on that.
Yeah. Good. Well, Vivek, it's good to catch up. It's
Same
good to
here.
see you on the show floor. It's good to see you in person. And I wish you nothing but continued success. I'm going to keep talking to you. I hope to come and visit you here later this year in September in India.
Yeah.
And see and tell the story about what you're building over there as
It's
well.
the same pleasure here, Eric. As you said, we've been meeting over on our MS Teams and things like that.
Yes.
But you're much smarter than what I saw you on the screen.
Really? You're much bigger. Thought you were only this big.
But bigger and smarter, there's a big difference. I think I always better to be on the smarter side of you.
You always were smarter than me, so I'm just saying we'll do that.
No, it's always, I'm picking it up things from you, and it's really a pleasure to meet you in person again.
Yeah.
And definitely, when we host you in September in India, Bangalore, you'll be very surprised what you see there.
Yeah.
I mean, ask any customer who's not been to India or in particular to Bangalore. There are a lot of very serious surprises lying there.
Good.
And we'll be talking definitely after that.
Good.
And I like to have, rather than you having a views about me from an India EMS perspective, I'll ask you your views. Maybe I'll be taking your interview from an Indian perspective. How do you see the change in what you heard versus what you see?
I look forward to that. I do.
Thank you very much.
Vivek, it's a pleasure, sir.
Same here. Thank you.